Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Laura Slawinski, Executive Dean for the College of Health, and this is the third year the college has celebrated Wellness Week, but it's the first time we've actually hosted live presentations as part of our celebration. So I'm very excited about some of the topics that we're going to explore this week. Starting right now, it is my honor to introduce our first presenter, Felicia Price, a proud Charlotte, North Carolina native. Felicia now resides in Greenville, the home of her alma mater, East Carolina University, where she earned a bachelor's and master's in economics. And lucky for us, Felicia is now a faculty member here at Ashford University. Her love for teaching and yoga brought her to a 200-hour yoga teacher training program with Samantha Harrison. And in April of 2019, she completed a 30-day, 300-hour intensive advanced yoga training with Authentic Movements in Costa Rica. When Felicia was faced with dialysis in 2015, and after she received a successful kidney transplant in 2016, she looked to yoga for both her mental and physical health. Her passion for yoga spilled right over into her desire to educate individuals on preventative care and self-care with chronic illness. Felicia is passionate about yoga because it improves the capacity for healing and balancing. She continues to be an advocate in the community for education in these areas, knowing that those who practice yoga regularly are less likely to exhibit chronic mental and physical health problems. I am looking forward to learning from your experience and expertise, and I'll turn it over to you now, Felicia.
All right, thank you so much, Laura. Hi, everyone. My name is Felicia Price again, and I'm just so excited that you took some time out of your day to spend it with me, but also to get a little bit of self-care for yourself. So we can go ahead and get started. All right, so with pranayama, we want to start with a preview. And if you're anything like me, if you weren't already familiar with what pranayama is, you probably Googled it, and I can't say I blame you. Pranayama is a Sanskrit word, which is an ancient Indian language that is used predominantly in yoga. And when you break the word apart, prana means breath, and ayama means to change. So it's like the changing in the breath, being able to manipulate the breath and do breath exercises, which is what we'll do today. So we're going to discuss the power of the breath. We're going to talk about how the breath can actually send a signal to your brain that everything is okay, to ease the mind and calm you down, which is the best place to be if you're trying to connect with either your personal spirit, or if you have a particular faith that you believe in, how to connect with that being, whether that's in meditation or in prayer. Also to move the body, even if you don't do yoga, Pilates, you're a runner, all of that, using your breath to help you excel in your exercise, in your basically not having a sedentary lifestyle. Any type of movement exercise that you do, being able to connect with your breath in a very special way helps you release that oxygen to your muscles to allow you to get the most from your movement. And then we'll actually get into some breathwork exercises. That'll probably be the bulk of what we do today. And then after that, we can go into some question and answer. All right, so first we're going to start with understanding the breath. So I know that the breath is involuntary, but what's really cool about it is just like it's involuntary, the moment I say hold your breath, you know, unless you're physically unable to do so, you're able to hold your breath. You're able to take deep inhales, long exhales, all of those things. So understanding how your breath works, how you're able to manipulate it is really important. It can increase your flexibility. With yoga, it's very important in my class. If I had $1 every time I said stay in the exhale, it's important that you understand when you inhale what your body's doing and when you exhale what your body's doing, so that you can make the most out of your breath work. It helps you boost your stamina. Obviously, things like running, but being able to breathe properly when you run will help you increase your stamina in other areas of your life. 360 breathing is breathing that you can feel all over your body. Most of the time it's the chest, Sometimes it's the belly, but understanding how you can take a pause, take a moment, and feel your chest expand, feel the sides expand, even breathing into the back body, what that feels like and what that can do for you. And then we're going to discuss the inhales and exhales. So let's actually stop there and talk about the inhale. When something exciting happens or something nerve-wracking happens, what is the first thing most people do when they take that deep inhale in? Well, your inhale sends a signal to your brain that something is not right. And that's why, whether people know it or not, the reason when something happens, someone will come beside you and say, take some deep breaths, just take some deep breaths. I don't even know if they know why they're saying it, probably because it's just been taught to us over time, but it's because using your breath helps you relax. Now, the thing is, when they're saying take these deep breaths, most of the time that means a really big inhale. But what did we just say? That really big or really sharp inhale is what sends that message to your brain that something has happened. So we can only imagine what happens on the exhale. On the exhale is when you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. It's that part in your brain that does send the message, hey, we're okay. There's no emergency. We got this. And it's important that you know that, because even if you clicked off of the video right now, that alone is gold. Because when you're in the car, if you're anything like me and you're still working on your road rage, then a lot of times when you're at that stoplight or that person cut in front of you, something as simple as taking an inhale, but then staying and hanging out a little longer in the exhale can allow you to calm down. And if you're not sure what that means, we're going to get to that in a minute. All right, so with this next slide, we're going to talk about easing the mind. So breath work to ease the mind. Again, that's tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system. These are the types of breathwork exercises that lower your heart rate, the type that lower your blood pressure. These are the types of exercises that you want to do, breathwork exercises that you want to do if you're looking to ease your mind from stress. So this is just coming right over from my road rage example. When you're looking to calm yourself down, a lot of that is hanging out in that exhale. A lot of that is understanding how your breath works and how you can allow that to relieve your stress. Naturally, things happen, life happens. Obviously, connecting to your breath isn't solving the problem, but a lot of times when we're taking that big inhale and we're sending the message to our brain that something is wrong, then we're not able to think as clearly. So when something happens, if you can just remember to tap into your breath, then at least you can then begin to make good decisions with what your next move is going to be based on what that particular emergency situation was. Next is connect with the spirit. Again, this is a very personal thing, whatever your particular spiritual or religious beliefs are. When you want to have that quiet time, whether it's just for yourself or for you to connect to that higher power, it's understanding how to bring your mind into focus, breath work to clear the mind. So it's not the relaxation. When you're relaxed, that's more like you're preparing for sleep, you're preparing for a massage, or something traumatic just happened and you're trying to bring yourself back down. When you want to focus, that's a different type of breath that you want to tap into, something that tells your mind, this is where our concentration needs to go. So it's important to have that type of breath when you're trying to make that particular connection. Myself personally, I am Christian and I pray. And when I do, I don't want my mind to be wandering all over the place. I want to be able to have that time to connect in prayer with whatever message it is I'm trying to send, typically a message of gratitude, of thankfulness, and things of that nature. You want to be able to do that with your mind clear of other thoughts. And then last, like we talked about previously, it's moving the body. Anytime we're doing anything difficult, think about that intense exhale that I mentioned previously. It's not just, that inhale. It's not just that quick inhale. It's what happens after it. And after it, a lot of times you're holding your breath. And when you're holding your breath, you're not allowing oxygen to flow towards your muscles. You're not allowing that oxygen to get to your brain. So therefore, you're going to come into fatigue a lot faster. So this doesn't necessarily just mean when you're working out. It could be when you're moving. Moving is because I have to move soon. So I'm thinking I have to lift up all those boxes and move them onto the truck and then off the truck and then back into my new home. things like that. Being able to tap into my breath to allow me to sustain longer, that stamina that we mentioned earlier. So knowing the importance of not just breathing when you're moving, but again, you need to do the exhale when you're doing the most exertion. So if you can think about when you're moving, if you know you're about to lift a box up per se, then you're gonna say, okay, let me go ahead and take an inhale, lean over, hinging at the hips, pick the box up on my exhale. I'm going to do what is using the most energy when I'm releasing oxygen, releasing air from my body so that my body knows, hey, I'm okay, I've got this box. Send the oxygen to my muscles, send the message to my brain, I can keep going. And I know it sounds so simple, but I promise you, it really, really works. And so I want to get into some breath work exercises because I know our time here is a little bit limited. And so before we begin, I can't see everyone, but I sat here on my couch instead of at my table, just in case you were watching. I'm not sure how much of my torso you can see, but I wanted you to be able to see where I placed my hands, how my chest and belly were moving in case you needed to. So before we begin, I'd like everyone to make sure that they are in a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. Someplace where you can have good posture. Now, if you're one of the students or you're not in an office and you're at home and you can lie down, I completely would definitely say lie down. That's a great way to really tap into your breath awareness. Otherwise, you can stay perfectly seated. And I would recommend maybe even having a little bit of water nearby. If breath work is not something that you typically do, we're going to do 6 different ones. I chose the ones that were the most relaxing, the most calming. However, this is 6 different ways that you have not manipulated your breath before. So just in case, having a little water nearby might be helpful if you find your mouth gets dry or anything like that, just having something to drink nearby. So we're going to start with breath awareness. So if you do need to go get some water or anything like that, you're not missing anything. We're going to start simply by just acknowledging and being aware of the breath. So if you would like, you can place both hands on your knees, roll your shoulders back, make sure your chin is level with the earth so it's not too far down or too far up. Keep it right level and simply close your eyes if that's available to you where you are and begin to just notice your breath. You're not necessarily trying to change anything. You just want to notice what your natural cadence of your breath is. Begin to notice, do you feel like your chest expands when you breathe? Do you feel like your belly expands when you breathe? Where do you feel movement happening? Do you already have a 360 breath? Do you notice your sides expanding as you breathe? Do you notice your back? And it's a little harder to notice the back unless this is a breath pattern you're familiar with. If you have a friend or a partner at home and you want to practice some of these later, I would say a great way to do it is when you are sitting up, have someone simply place their hand on your back, right in between your shoulder blades, and let them, and that way you have a little bit of feedback and you can feel, do you feel your back leaning into their hand? Does their hand, do they feel your back kind of expanding into their palm? And that's a great way to know if you've got that 360 breath. So just take another moment, take another 2 breaths, breathing in and out, again, not manipulating, just noticing what your natural breathing pattern is. And I'll pause for a moment. Good. All right. Our second exercise will be counting the breath. Excuse me, I need to take a sip myself. So with counting the breath, it's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to start with the count of 4. We'll do that twice, then we'll move to 5, and then we'll move to 6. And what I mean by that is while you're inhaling, I will be counting to 4. And then you will exhale, I will count to 4, if that makes sense. So it's counting your breath. So we're going to begin. Let's everyone take a big inhale together. Exhale and release. And now inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now take a moment to return to your natural breathing pattern. Maybe take a sip of water. Moving your shoulders, moving your limbs, just kind of getting a little loosey-goosey, as I would normally say in my yoga class, and just taking a moment to just notice how that felt. If you have pen and paper nearby, maybe you want to write down, how did that particular breath exercise make you feel? Is it one you didn't like so much? Is it one you'd like to revisit? And then if you revisit it, would you like to maybe count to 7, count to 8? Did you notice that you could do 4 with no problem, but once we got to 5, it was too much? Once we got to 6, you couldn't breathe in that long or exhale that long. Those are things to notice. Those are things that you could work on and work towards. All right, now we're gonna go into diaphragmatic breathing. This is simply breathing into your belly. So if you would like, you can place both hands right here under the ribs, rolling the shoulders back, again, keeping your chin level. And on your inhale, you will feel your belly grow under your hands. And then on your exhale, you'll feel it deflate. Now, this might not sound like much, and you can continue to breathe as I'm talking. Just continue to do this exercise. This might not seem like much, but most people are chest breathers. Most people are right here. They never really fill their belly up with air. And when you fill your belly up with air, it's called diaphragmatic breathing, because what happens is your diaphragm expands down. Your diaphragm is right up under your ribs, under your lungs, but right above your stomach. And so when you breathe in, the diaphragm expands, feeling that expansion in your belly. When you exhale, everything kind of caves in together. Diaphragmatic breathing specifically is known to be good for relieving blood pressure, hypertension, and lowering your heart rate. So these are good exercises to do if those are issues that you have or someone else that you know. So again, let's do that 3 more times, placing the hands right here on the belly. Take that big inhale, feel the belly grow underneath your hands. And you can hold at the top, you can take a long inhale. There's no particular wrong way to do this. And then when you exhale, just feeling your belly collapse underneath, noticing that nothing is happening in the chest, everything is happening right here in the belly, right where your diaphragm is. All right, we're gonna go to box breathing, one of my favorites actually. And with box breathing, it's very similar to the counting breath, which is why we did that first, so you could get used to breathing on a count of 4, because with box breathing, we're gonna do 4 parts. So the first part is taking that inhale for the count of 4, which you're already familiar with. Number 2 is going to be holding at the top. So that basically means you're not exhaling for the count of 4. Then you will exhale for the count of 4, and then you will hold at the bottom for the count of 4 before you take in the next inhale. Box breathing is what they like to call almost instantly calming. This is a good one to go to immediately when you're trying to bring yourself down to calmness. So again, let's take a big inhale together. And exhale. And now everyone inhale for 2, 3, 4, holding at the top, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Return to your natural breathing pattern for just a moment. I know I didn't really give enough time. I know I mentioned with the breath awareness about taking the notes. So just giving you a second to maybe notice how the counting breath, the diaphragmatic breath, and the box breathing, how those made you feel. Maybe just take a moment, jot those down. because I'd like to know whether that's you put them in the comments or you email me later. I would just be very interested in knowing how each of these, or like one or two, how they made you feel and if you felt like they were helpful. And maybe if not, if you were open to it, I'd be able to maybe send you some others that you can try. All right, so we're gonna try that box breathing. We're gonna do that 3 times, okay? So if you're ready, let's take another deep inhale together. And exhale. And now inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, hold at the top, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. And then release. So how did that feel? How did that feel in your body in comparison to the counting breath where all we did was inhale and exhale? There was no stop at the hold at the top or hold at the bottom. So just noticing how that feels in your body. You may like one better than the other, and that's perfectly fine. All right, 3-part breath, which is actually my favorite breath, is letting the breath travel up the body. So what'll happen is first, very similar to that diaphragmatic breathing, you'll feel it in your belly will rise. With this particular breath, I will advise that you do place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. What you want to feel is the breath, your belly will expand, then the air will travel up, your ribs will expand, and then your chest will rise. So it's a 3-part inhale. There's no breaks in between. It's just inhaling, feeling the air travel up your belly, through your ribs, and up to your chest, and then you will exhale everything all together. So again, let's take another deep breath together just to make sure we're on the same breathing pattern. Deep inhale. And exhale. And now inhale. Feel your belly rise. Feel your ribs expand. Chest lifts. And let it go. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale through the belly. Feel your ribs expand. The air travels up through your chest. And let it go. 2 more times, inhaling through the belly, your ribs, allow your chest to expand, and then release. And 1 more time, breathing in, belly rises, ribs expand, chest lifts, and release. Good, take another moment to take a note, grab a sip of water. If you have kind of checked out, I completely understand it's a lot of breath exercises for one 30-minute session, but I wanted to at least give you an opportunity to try each one of them so that you could later on try to do these on your own time. I wouldn't recommend maybe doing more than maybe 5 minutes to begin with, actually maybe even 2. These are breath work exercises that you could do in the morning before work. You could do I have a friend that likes to do them in the car before she walks in the house, when she comes home from work, before she greets the husband, before she greets the kids. So you choose when you want to do this breath work. It's an opportunity for you to take control of your nervous system, for you to take control of the signals that are sent to your brain, and for you to be able to control how you respond to various activities. All right, mantra breathing. This is so good. I love doing this, especially with young people, especially with kids, and especially with young girls. Mantra breathing is basically pairing words with your breath. And it's called mantra breathing, but I have encouraged people, if you have a favorite song lyric, you have a favorite scripture from whatever book that you use for your particular faith, if you have a poem, anything that you want to use, that you want to get this message into your mind, this mantra breathing is so good. So for right now, for all of us, I wanted to start with I am enough. So what that means is on your inhale, you will say to yourself, I am. On your exhale, you will say, enough. I am enough. I am enough. That is the message that you're sending to your brain. So again, let's take a deep inhale together. And exhale. And inhale, I am. Exhale, enough. Inhale, I am. Exhale, enough. Inhale, I am. Exhale, enough. Return to your natural breathing pattern. I like this breath so much because it can be so personal to you. As Laura mentioned in that beautiful introduction, I have had a kidney transplant. I'm going on 3 years now. And when I was, during the time I was on dialysis, it was just really, really hard mentally, let alone physically, but even mentally for me to be there. And being able to tap into mantra breathing, being able to tap into the song lyrics, the poems, the scriptures that were getting me through that really difficult time in my life was very, very helpful, because I believe words have power. The breath already has power, as we know. And I'm always telling my students to say kind things to themselves. And this is the perfect opportunity to do that. So this time we're going to go another 3 rounds, but I want to give you a moment to think of your own mantra for yourself, your own affirmation. And it can be something that you want to carry with you, like I am enough almost should be a lifetime mantra, or it can be something that you're working on right now. You have something that's pressing, something that's just really tugging at you, that's bothering you, and you kind of want to release that from your mind. Think of a mantra, think of something that you can attach to your breath. And, you know, make sure that it's not too many words. You can't necessarily have a full sentence unless you plan to take a really long inhale and a really long exhale. Try, once you have the thought of what you want it to mean, then try to condense it to I am enough, something like that. I am loved. I am grateful. Make it very personal to you. So take another minute. And if you're ready, we'll take another deep inhale together just to make sure we're on the same breathing pattern. Let's take a deep inhale and exhale. You ready? Inhale, exhale. Inhale with your mantra, exhale with your mantra. 2 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And now take a moment just to loosen up, take that sip of water, make whatever notes that you'd like to make. And for questions and answers, I'm not sure, maybe it's because I have my screen up. Maybe if I get out of this, I'll be able to see if there's any questions that have been written, or I guess if someone wants to ask any questions. Okay, let's see. Oh, well, thank you. Okay, so no questions so far. Just some really sweet words. Well, if it's at all possible, let's see if I can type a message here. I will put my email address here. Okay. And if anyone has any further questions, wants to discuss breath work at, any more to a further extent, even have an interest in yoga or anything of that nature, anything other than an economics question, I already get plenty of those, then you're more than welcome to send me an email with whatever questions or comments that you have about this presentation on pranayama.
Hi, Felicia. There is another question in the chat now.
Oh, let's see. My shoulders raise on box breath. Okay, with your shoulders See, this is before you start a breathing practice. One of the things that you can do, very similar to what I said about finding a comfortable seat, finding good posture. I left it kind of simple, just sitting down and chin level with the earth, but it's also about rolling the shoulders back and down. You want to allow gravity to relax your shoulders. So if you notice that you're doing it, that was really good that you noticed. And so now you have a self-correction that you can think of when you're doing that, because this right here is doing nothing but adding tension. And you want to allow your shoulders to completely relax and release. Thank you. Do I have a YouTube page? Not yet. I actually am working on a YouTube page, and I do have Instagram, but I am working on a YouTube page and my own personal website. I kid you not, this weekend I'm working with one of my best friends who's a YouTube guru, and she's gonna give me kind of a down and dirty crash course on the type of camera I need and all of those kind of things. But trust me, my name will be attached to it, Felicia Price. So if you wanna just randomly check back, or again, just email me and ask, hey, is your YouTube channel up yet? I do have an Instagram page for my yoga that you're more than welcome to follow. It's a public page. And I post primarily movement information there, more so than breath work, but that's something I'm going to get into more. These are things that I present at workshops, but I don't necessarily talk a lot about online, because it's so much easier face-to-face, or in a situation like this where you get asked questions back. I don't want anybody to do anything that would hurt themselves or injure themselves, but there are other pranayama videos on YouTube, some really good ones. So don't just wait for me, but thank you for asking. Let's see. Yes, I need a YouTube page. Thank you. It was more challenging than I thought. Yes, because the breath is involuntary, we don't have to think about it. So then when we do have to think about manipulating it, it can be challenging, but I'm glad you stuck through it.
Lisa, it looks like we're right at the half hour.
Awesome.
And I just want to say thank you so much for being our first Wellness Week presenter and getting us off to such a great start. I'm already looking forward to breathing better while I'm sitting in traffic, for sure.
Absolutely. No more questions, okay? Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your kind words. And Laura, I'll just send it back to you. You let me know how you want me to close out, if there's anything extra I need to do.
Nope, I think we're all set. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who joined us. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow's presentations. Take care.
Sounds great.